And one.
I'm calling the internet police.
Welcome to The Game Case, a show for, well, anyone that plays World of Warcraft. The show rife with ramblings, tips, tricks, and goings-on in WoW. Here's your host, Chris Case.
Well, hello, hi, howdy, and welcome to this episode 24 of The Game Case. I am Chris, also known as Cuddles, a brewmaster monk on Airy Peak in the Convert to Raid Guild. This week, I'm going to run down my week in WoW, discuss some of the big things on the horizon for Cuddles, run down a bit of WoW news, and discuss the topics sent into the show by one of our good friends, podcast listener extraordinaire, Miss Alessandra. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize right here up front. If you haven't noticed, looking a little under the weather. You got me in glasses tonight. I'm actually not even wearing sleeves. Hello, I'm from the south. Sorry, it happens. I'm a bit under the weather, not feeling too great. But I'm here for you guys. We're going to have a great show. So bear with me if I have to cough a little bit. I'll do my best to edit that out in post. For those here in the Twitch live stream, you might be subjected to a coughing fit. I'll do my best to mute the mic. But let's go have some fun. So this week in WoW, I had a blast. Now, while I missed the weekend raid with Bacon and Kegs, I actually got to spend some time at the beach with my family, which was wonderful. Got to go down, get a little surfing in here on the East Coast now that I'm back from vacation. Got my son out in the water. He's not quite ready. He's about 4.5 now. He's not quite ready to like venture out into like the wave zone and get on a surfboard and really go at it. But he's definitely having a really good time out there, and he's starting to get excited seeing daddy surf, seeing mommy surf. I'm super stoked to be able to hopefully one day soon get him out in the water, get him surfing. So that's why I have nothing at all from Bacon and Kegs. I know they did some great progression. I believe they got down Zul'Harak. But I will be back with them this weekend. Cannot wait. And I did get to go with Rubber Chicken Coalition just a couple nights ago. Jumped right in to Tyrant Velhari. Just a few pulls on her. And got her right down. Didn't actually seem to be too much of a problem. The team is really meshing and really coming together at this point in Hellfire Citadel. You know, we're plenty of bosses in. We're getting towards the end here. And things are going really great. I would like to say a big hearty thank you to Mr. Theory, who stepped in, not just stepped in and main tanked for us, but also stepped in and did our raid leading. Theory is one of those guys that he is always there when you need him. He is solid. He is reliable. He is an incredible asset to our team and a great asset to our guild and to the game of Warcraft. If you don't know Theory, check him out. He has a great podcast called the Epic Fail Podcast. Check those guys out. They're great. I get the pleasure of raiding with him on Rubber Chickens. I know he also raids with a team called Hydral Volunteer Fire Department. And they're doing some great progression, doing some great things over there. So thanks, Theory, for stepping up. We got Tyrant down, moved on to Zul'Harak. Got Zul'Harak down. I think 28% was our best pull. We will have him next week, I believe. We're a 1 night a week raid team, so we're doing a week of clear, a week of progression. Excuse me. Obviously, I stepped in this week on progression night, so right into Tyrant, right into Zul'Harak. So I think next week we'll do a full clear. We might be able to get all the way back up to Zul'Harak. We shall see. I'm very excited to be back in the swing of things with Rubber Chickens, and super pumped to see Bacon and Kegs this weekend. I definitely missed that crowd, and really looking forward to getting back into it with them. Now, I mentioned that I was going to talk about a couple things on the horizon for Cuddles. There's one big thing that I'm going to talk about And then something else that I really can't talk about, but I'm super pumped, super excited about, so I might allude to it. I don't know. I sometimes find it hard to keep my mouth shut. So, in case y'all missed it, earlier this week, there was some big news over on the Converted podcast. So, the Converted podcast, if you don't know about it, is the podcast about Convert to Raid, the guild on Airy Peak. It is a mega guild. Y'all have heard me talk about it before. Many of you that listen are fellow guildies. Thank you for that. Love our community. For those that don't know what Convert to Raid is, we are comparable, if you're Horde side, to what AIE is. I think we're a little bit better, but, you know, I'm kind of biased. But we are a mega guild. We're comprised of 10 sub-guilds. We're approaching over 8,000 in membership right now. That's 8,000 active tunes. Each month they go through and remove anyone that has not been active in the last 3 months. So our numbers aren't, oh, we have, 300 people on the guild, but only 2 of them log in. No, when we say that we have around 8,000 members, these are 8,000 people that are actually logging in and playing WoW. So Convert to Raid is the guild. The Converted is the podcast specifically about the guild. Talks about guild happenings, interviews guildies, raid leaders, talks to our raid liaisons, our greeters, our event planning staff, and kind of breaks down what's going on in the guild. Now, being in Convert to Raid, this is one of the podcasts that I've listened to for a very long time. I have a lot of respect for what they do. They are wonderful at it. The show started out with Salmisis the Shaman and Belschnickel. And they have, within the last, I think it was last 2 years, brought in, or last maybe year. I should have gotten this, right. And actually, sorry, guys. I'm bad with history. So recently they brought in a third co-host by the name of Navox. Navox rocks. Navox has been ridiculously nice, helpful, and wonderful to me through my podcasting journey. He's helped me figure out a lot of the things that you're looking at right now. If you're looking at this either on YouTube or viewing this live on Twitch, a lot of the reasons as to why I'm here in these formats and not simply sitting down with a mic and recording an audio podcast, a lot of that reason is because of Navox and how helpful and great he has been over the past few months. He, however, has made the decision to step down from the Converted, and that left them with a seat open for a third co-host. Now, I was absolutely blown away, humbled, and honored that they asked me, and I accepted to be that third co-host. So I was on the last episode at the very end. Navox made his big announcement. I came in, just kind of said hi, said bye to Navox. Little bit of a changing of the guard, as it were. I definitely, I don't think that I can fill Navox's shoes, but I will go into the best of my ability and do everything that I can to contribute as much as I can to an already phenomenal show. So you guys can find me over on the Converted now. You can find that on iTunes. You can find that on Stitcher. We also broadcast live on Twitch, alternating Mondays. So our next show is going to be 9/28. Check out my Twitters, or I'll give you some information in the show notes about how you can find directly the Converted if you're not already a listener. If you are, Felix in the chat room, thank you. Frosty as well, thank you. They both took a moment and said congratulations, guys. I appreciate it. I did not see this coming, and it kind of blew me away. I'm super stoked. So it's going to be a lot of fun over there. They are a fun-loving, upbeat, great group with Sal and Belsh. So I'm really, really looking forward to joining that team and seeing what I can do, bringing a little bit of cuddle spice into it. So make sure you check us out. If you're not in Convert to Raid, come give us a listen. Let us know what you think. But I will be over there on Mondays. There's also some big news coming out that's going to be kind of related around BlizzCon and some cool stuff that I'm going to be able to do while there. I can't really talk about it yet. It's nothing crazy. I'm not sitting down with Ian. Don't expect that, guys. But it is something very cool and something else that I'm very honored to be a part of. When the time comes, I'll talk about that a little bit more. But I wanted to say that just to say that this has been a phenomenal week. Each and every week is great. I rarely have bad weeks. But this week has been just great piece of news after great piece of news after great piece of news. So, I don't know. Maybe I need to go out and buy a lotto ticket. Because things are coming up, Cuddles. And I'm loving life. Even more than usual. As sick as I am right now. You see this big smile on my face? I can't get rid of it. It's been a really fun journey. And thanks for everybody that's followed me throughout it. So that's enough of me, tooting my own horn and telling you what I'm doing. Because I know we're not all here to find out what Cuddles is up to. Let's talk a little bit about WoW news. So, last week we talked a little bit about what was going on with Method and Serenity. In that a bunch of members from Method were forming a new guild by the name of Serenity. They were going to be trying for World's First. A lot of notable names went over to Serenity. A lot of notable names stuck around, although not as many as I would have expected. We also saw Sloot from Midwinter head over to the Serenity team. So some big changes out there in the Mythic World First race. And we did see, since our last recording, a response from Sko, who is the head of Method. Alessander Cuddles just asked Sloot, he is not moving to Europe. Okay, he's going to stay in Canada, but he's still raiding with Serenity, correct, Alessander? I believe that was the latest news that I saw. I will confess to having absolutely no connections to Sloot. He has no idea who I am. I could probably bump into him on the street, and I don't know that I would recognize him, although I am well aware of how big of a deal he is and how phenomenal a contributor to our community he is. I just want to make it clear I'm not professing any personal connection. While we wait on that answer from Alessander, yep, he's trialing with Serenity, so that's going to be a thing. I don't know why they wouldn't take him, although I know they already have a large pool of talent to pull from, but I'll be pulling for Sloot to get on a team where he feels comfortable. Now, Sko on September 11th, so just out of, excuse me, just after we recorded our last podcast and reported on some of this news, I read you his initial post on Facebook. Go back and listen to our old episode or check out our show notes to find information on that if you missed it. Now, Sko came out. There was a lot of rumors swirling about. A lot of people saying a lot of different things. It was money. It was this. It was that. It was Sko had turned into a maniacal, dictator, and everyone was running away. No, I think we can throw some of those crazy stories right out the window as just internet craziness. But without being involved in the situation, you have to wonder what's going on. Now, of course, we'll never know. If you were not on this team and actually personally involved in it, anything that's coming out now is hearsay and speculation. Even from the folks that were involved, emotions and memories fade over time. Things get told a little bit different each and every time. It's like playing a fantastical game of telephone like you used to do when you were a kid. Like you tell somebody something and then they tell somebody, and then by the end it was like, hi, this man went to buy a bagel, and then it's like, my puppy got lost in a tornado. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The proof is going to be in the pudding come Tier 19 in the Mythic World First race for Legion. We'll see who got the better of this, regardless of reasoning. But I did want to draw attention to this comment from Sko. said there are misguided accusations being made regarding the sponsorship / deals that were made for Method. Let me be very clear, I haven't personally received anything extra from these sponsorships / deals over any other member in Method, other than being a streamer with the same perks offered to all Method streamers. And while I can only give you my word, these accusations are grossly misplaced. A little bit more about Method branching out, to paraphrase. And this paragraph was particularly interesting to me. We were currently discussing, among other things, transparency issues during the collapse. And I was hoping to find a solution for this, but these turned out to be irrelevant because of the other issues I highlighted in my Facebook post yesterday. He's referencing the previous comment that we made. So basically, they broke up. It's like any relationship breaking up. There's 3 sides to the story. There's his side, her side, and then somewhere in the middle, there's the truth. And we may never actually see that. So, as I said, we'll see what happens when Legion drops. I know I'm going to be rooting for... I'm going to be rooting for good, quick, fast, amazing, phenomenal progression with some cool videos coming out. I mean, that's all we can really hope for. Until these guys start streaming stuff, which I understand why they don't. We're just going to have to sit back and wait and see what happens. So, aside from that, got a really interesting email a little bit earlier today. This is hot off the presses, breaking news. This was actually posted over on the Battle.net, like blog portion of the site. I'll shoot you a link in the show notes. I'm also placing this in the chat room for you guys. Battle.net and Twitter are now integrating. So if you do stream on Twitch, if you've ever been into your settings and connections where you can connect it to your Twitter or your YouTube or various other places, there's now an integration for Battle.net to directly integrate with Twitch. Now, they're pumping this up and parading it out with a portrait for Heroes of the Storm. They've said for a limited time, anyone who watches a Heroes of the Storm regional championship while logged into Twitch with a linked Battle.net account will receive a special Stormwatcher portrait in Heroes of the Storm. Now, this is pretty cool. I was definitely... I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to do this. Having things linked and whatnot is definitely a good thing. I enjoy having all my things talk to all of my other things. It's definitely a nice little perk of the internet age. As for the portrait, it's pretty cool. I'm working on... Here we go. Portrait. I'm going to throw this up on the screen. Apologize for not having this ready ahead of time, guys. Again, I will blame the cough medicine. So here you go. Here's the portrait. For those listening to this on the download, check out the show notes. There'll be a link to the Battle.net page that has this portrait on it. Cool little, I don't Viking-looking Rocky guy. Anybody in the chat room identify this as like a memorable lore character that I simply don't know about, maybe? Anyway, it's a cool looking portrait. You'll get it simply for logging in and watching a Heroes of the Storm Regional Championship. All you have to do is link your Twitch in your Battle.net. There's directions for that over on the link that will be in the show notes and is also in the chat room. So check that out. Definitely a cool thing. I have seen a few people that have expressed some angst about connecting these two things. As always with anything on the internet, use your own discretion. I am a very public person on the internet. Not to say that I am famous or people even know who I am. I just make very little effort to actually hide where I am, what I'm doing. My personal information is out there. So I worry very little about integrations like this. If you have some sort of concern, dig into the particulars, dig into the fine print, find out if it's right for you. I'm not recommending everybody go out and do it. If you have any specific concerns as to why you would not want to do this, then don't do it. It gets you a Heroes of the Storm portrait. I mean, really, it's very cool. Thank you, Blizzard. But at the same time, it's not worth sacrificing your particular stand on internet privacy for. So, other than that, we have the dungeon events going on right now. So, through the end of the day on Monday, the Blizzard posted that it's a great time to join other players in Draenor dungeons. Excuse me. This week's bonus event rewards you with reputations gains when you defeat dungeon enemies on heroic and mythic difficulties. So, after 4 of these, don't forget to pick up the quest. It's the little homeless orc that sits in front of your garrison building. If you're Alliance, if you're Horde, it's somebody somewhere with something. I don't know, sorry. But make sure to pick up the event-only quest, Emissary of War, in your garrison before you head out. It rewards a Iron Fleet treasure chest, which this is going to be a heroic item from Hellfire Citadel. So that's definitely going to be something that I will be getting done. And it's, you know, you gotta go out there and get that gear, guys. It's all about that loot. Also, we have 50% off the Grinning Reaver mount this week. So this was a mount that I believe came out during Mist of Pandaria. Very, very cool mount. And it is, instead of the normal $25, it is down to $12.50. Now, I did pick this guy up. I picked him up just earlier today. Rode him around a little bit. He makes some cool little like scratching noises on the ground. Let's take a look here at a video that MMO Champion has posted of the Grinning Reaver. And there you have it, guys. That is the Grinning Reaver mount. For those listening on the download, I'll have some links in there if you want to check it out. Of course, always you can go into your Battle.net, go to the store, check it out right there. Cool little mount, $12.50. If you're going to pay for mounts, $12.50 is pretty cheap. So I would definitely suggest checking it out. I'm enjoying riding around on him. Don't know that I'm really in love with him. Maybe I'll end up with a tune that I like him for. He's not really doing it for me on my Monk. Maybe my DK with like a nice red transmog. Oh, that would look cool. And that's about it for news for this week. So let's dive right into our main topic for the night. And I want to thank Alessander, who is in the chat room right now, for submitting this. So I'm going to go ahead and read through a little bit of the email that she sent me. And then I'll stand up on the soapbox and pontificate a little bit, if that's okay with everybody. Now, Alessander asks, do you think WoW should, or could, become more of a casual game, with content delivered in short bursts instead of long grinds, hour-long queue times, repetitive mechanics designed to slow progress, and of course, no flying? The initial leveling process takes a few weeks to complete, leaving months of max level content in the form of gearing up and raiding. Raid fights seem to be quite long, up to 20 minutes plus trash pulls. Would a boss be more fun to you, or be more challenging if the fight were faster paced and half the time? What would a challenging yet less time-intensive WoW be like, and would you want to change it? Now, she goes on to suggest a few ways that we could reduce time, including maybe even a mobile app. She says that she's not serious, but Alessandra, I actually kind of like this idea. Getting gear, maybe tokens or something from playing Diablo or Heroes. I actually like the idea of that. Maybe not like cutting edge raid gear, but maybe old transmog stuff. Going through maybe a particular Diablo, a particular part of Diablo, and maybe you get some transmog that kind of looks like whatever you did in Diablo, like some of the like a little bit of armor crossover. Queue times can be drastically reduced by eliminating the tank heals deeps model for scenarios. Travel time could also be reduced with a compact, well-designed base camp and flight or NPCs provided portals to the bank transmog repair guys. That's something I would actually love to see. The ability to... I've heard this somewhere else, so this is not an original idea. What if one of your followers was a mage? And, like, one of our garrison followers was a mage, and you had to take him, maybe... And I'm totally ripping this idea off. I apologize. I don't remember who said this. I want to say it was somebody on Azeroth Roundtable. I'm sorry for not giving you credit, but I'm nebulously saying that I'm stealing this from you, so hopefully that covers all copyright infringement. But what if you took this mage around and took him to different places, and then he learned, like, that place? Like, who's still farming Onyxia for that mount? Or who's going to Throne of the Four Winds? What if you could get a mage follower, like a young mage, and you take him around and he learns a portal to Throne of the Four Winds. He learns a portal to Onyxia's Lair. And then rather than having to fly there, or use whatever means we're happening to use to get there, we just port there. So you could port in, do your circle of hope and aspirations, and drastically cut. I mean, how much time are you actually spending? Excuse me. If you're doing a real like circuit of mount farming on multiple tunes, how much time are you really spending flying around the world? And is that necessary at this point? I don't know. For me, I love it. I enjoy it. I still haven't seen most of the world. So, well, maybe I've seen most of it, but it's definitely not old or stale to me. And I'm not farming stuff across multiple tunes. I have one tune, I'll go and do it. And yeah, Alessandra, I'm with you here. She said, although I would sometimes like to have more ports to get around, part of me likes traveling WoW too. So she's torn on portals. The cool thing about that is it could be, if you have to take them around, one, you're already seeing the content. We know Blizz is big on that. They want you to experience the content before flying over it. I would assume they would take the same stance about portaling. And two is, other than farming and nostalgia, is flying over some of these parts of Azeroth relevant to the game? I don't know. I don't know. They are smarter people than me. Frosty says he's still farming lots of stuff. I especially love riding the enemy Zeppelin since Alliance has no way, easy way to northern eastern kingdoms. Yep. They've kind of ignored some of the traveling hardships that they definitely could have made easier. But going back into the meat and potatoes, if I can, of your question, it definitely brings in nostalgia. It reminds you of what WoW used to be. But getting back to your initial question, should it become a more casual game? No. I think, should that be the direction that they take? No. WoW is WoW. And it needs to stay WoW because it being WoW is why people still WoW in WoW while wowing at WoW. Wow. I don't even know what I just said. I don't know. But I don't think it should become a casual game. Yes, Farmville is popular. Like let's throw Farmville out there. What's the little my brother always plays it with me on the cell phone. Clash of Clans. There you go. Or the new one with the pretty girl from the commercials that she never actually plays the game, but she's on the commercials, so we all go download it and try to play it. And I'm gonna be playing with Elizabeth Hurley, or whoever that happens to be. Excuse me. But WoW needs to stay what WoW is. Now, could they offer some shortcuts like we were just talking about? Maybe being able to portal around. Or maybe if you've already taken a flight path within the last, Game of War. If you have taken a flight path within a certain period of time. You know how we have raid lockouts? What if they did something like... What if they did something like flight path lockouts? Maybe it's 12 hours, maybe it's 24 hours, but you go and you do it on one tune, and then that 15-minute flight, you go on the next tune, or you go back there with that tune to take the same flight path from point A to point B, not point B back to point A, but point A to point B. Now, all of a sudden, you have an option to skip the flight, and you start at A and end up at B. You can hit spacebar and you're just there. No idea what that would actually take to implement, but I could see that being a little bit of a way for them to ease up, especially on alts traveling. Define what WoW is. WoW is, from what I've heard of it in the past, it has become considerably more and more casual over the years. Felix. Felix said in the chat room that it's already pretty casual. I got half my raid gear from Garrisons. Now, that is something that they have come out and said that was a mistake. I think it was either 6.1 or 6.2, since they've kind of tweaked Garrisons a little bit. I definitely, I haven't seen that happening with my raid gear now that I'm into Hellfire. And Hut Pocket has suggested WoW needs more customization to your skills to make your skills more unique from others, since everyone uses the same builds and don't really have variety. Agree, maybe don't disagree, but I don't know if I'm entirely on your boat, Hut. Only because at some point, performance-wise, people are always going to settle on one thing. One thing is always going to trump something. They're always going to be fairly similar. I would love to hear how that could be pulled off. Okay, you said WoW should stay WoW, and I mostly agree. But what is WoW? I don't know that I can. WoW is. To me, WoW is a community. WoW is raiding. WoW is pet collecting. WoW is mounts. I don't, Alessandro. I'm gonna stop right here because I don't know that I have the eloquence and grasp of mouth noises to actually coherently answer your question. But your last sentence there, my definition may not match yours. I think that's very true. And I think the thing that we fall into as kind of backseat or couch side developers is, well, I know what's going to be best for WoW. I have the solutions. You need to stop doing this. And then you tell your friends, and all your whole raid team's like, oh my god, yeah, if they only did that. Let's be honest here. Blizzard, love them, like them, hate them. If you're listening to this show, you're at least consuming content about their game, even if you're not still playing Warcraft. But Blizzard has produced the most successful, longest running, massively multiplayer online game in history. Hands down, bar none, can't argue. Like, facts. Like, it's just... WoW at its low points is better than most games at their high points. There's challengers out there. Everybody, it's still 10 years later, coming up on 11 years. We're still discussing in gaming forums around nerdy water coolers, what's going to be the WoW killer? What's going to be the game that comes out there and takes out WoW? These guys know what they're doing. If they've made the game more casual, I'm going to say that while they have made mistakes, and they will admit to mistakes, and there's plenty more that they haven't admitted to, they're not perfect. They are not God's gift to game designing. Although they may be God's gift to game designing, they're just still not perfect. They're doing well. Now, I think that we all too often fall into, they should do this, they should do this, they should do that, they should do that. Let them do what they're doing, guys. Let it be what it is and enjoy it for the game that it is. If, I say this time and again, if you're not enjoying it, go play something else. There's other video games. I promise your computer will not crash if you do not play WoW next week. It won't happen. Your guild might be angry, but your computer won't crash. The cool thing that you did talk about in here, Alessander, is using a mobile app. I like the idea of that, although you suggested it as time spent in gearing up by offering a quick mobile version of a scenario or dungeon. I don't know that I want to WoW on my cell phone. Like, actually, like, raid and do things of that nature. What I think they missed the ball on big time was giving us a mobile version of our garrisons. An ability to log into our garrisons and do our garrison crap on our phones. I think people would have been much less upset with garrison choriness if we could have done it while on the subway, while riding home from work, while, let's all be honest, you take your phone in there, while on the toilet. I mean, there's so many places that they could have grabbed us. And their mobile, if I'm going to be extremely critical of anything that Blizzard does, it's going to be their dedication or lack thereof of dedication to anything on mobile. Take a look at the Armory app. I mean, it was cool when it came out, I'm sure. But now, as somebody that's come into the game in the last 8 to 9 months, it's dated. It doesn't seem to do what I would expect it to do. And Hut, Hut has said that would be the worst move that they could make. And see, this is what I love about this community. We all have these ideas of what we want WoW to be. And the reality of it is they have millions upon millions of subscribers. They cannot make all of us perfectly happy all the time. They're doing a damn good job of keeping most of us entertained. So thank you, Blizzard. I am enjoying the game. I am having fun. And yeah, it's very, very interesting question, Alessander. I think you would maybe intentionally in your email go a little bit too far with the idea, but I definitely think that there's something there. There is a spark of inspiration, milady. And I don't know that a less time-intensive WoW is what I want. If I want a quick and easy game that I can pop in and pop out of, I'm not playing WoW. I mean, I'd pop in and pop out and do my garrison chores, or, you know, do my daily cooldowns or stuff like that. But if I'm looking for a quick, enjoyable 30-minute experience, I'm hopping on HOTS. Hut Pocket asks, how do I feel about the new Demon Hunter? I feel like it's going to be really cool. I don't know that I will roll one right away. That you will obviously see them everywhere. I have not yet seen enough so that I know the theory crafters and kind of the folks that have been around for a while have seen enough that they can form real opinions of what this class is going to feel like and what it's going to be. I need to see a little bit more. I need to be a little bit more spoon-fed being so new. So I don't want to... I will say this. I think the lore and the story looks great. I think they're awesome models. I will definitely be playing one. The thing that I may do before I roll my Demon Hunter is with the changes that are coming out just cosmetically to feral druids. I may roll a druid while everybody's hopping over to Demon Hunter. I may try out a couple different classes. I know one of my big goals, and something that I want to talk about in an upcoming episode, is going to be goals. Now that we have another X-Pack on the horizon, you gotta start. I'm not yet done with raiding, but you have to start thinking about that bucket list. That, you know, what do I need to get done before WoD is over and before I roll that Demon Hunter. Now I do have my Demon Hunter name reserved. Actually, I believe I have two. And now that I said that and got all confident and cocky about it, I don't even remember what they are. If that gives you an indication, that's my level of excitement. I'm definitely pumped and excited to see something new come to the game. I have not even played my Panda for a year, so I don't have kind of that burnout of like, well, I've been a prop pally for 7 years and I need to roll something else, or, oh dear, I've always been a gnome priest and I would like to do something else. Wow, that was like a horrible gnome voice. Marconin, you gotta get me some lessons, buddy. I don't know if you listen to this, but if you do, you need some gnome voice lessons. That was sad. But yeah, I'm super pumped for the new story in Legion, everything that's coming out. I will roll a Demon Hunter at some point, of course. Like I said, I have the name saved. So it's going to be interesting. I'm really interested to see what, if anything, it does to raid comps. Not by any means am I a high-end progression raider, but it will be very interesting to see kind of what happens initially. This will actually be my very first X-Pack. Being a WoD baby, I came around after WoD had already happened. So I joined the game in like December, about a month after WoD. So this is my first launch. So I'm very, very excited. Hut is questioning the double jump. I agree, my friend. It's going to be interesting. Rip monk mobility, I guess. Monks, you know, we were the mobile agile class. Looks like that's going away. So we'll see what happens. It's plenty of time. A lot of information is going to come out. I think I saw something today that we are 49 days out from BlizzCon. We'll definitely see some new information there. So I will talk about it once I have a little bit better grasp on it. And that's just me being honest about where I am. So I think that's about all I can throw out there about your topic, Alessandra. I hope I covered it. That was a very fun discussion. I definitely appreciate you sending it in. Alessandra, for those of you that don't know, I think Alessandra listens to every podcast under the sun, and then several others that like are secret, like like back alley podcasts that like nobody knows about. Like, she's awesome and she contributes to all of us and is an amazing source of support. So huge shout out. She has said that there's nothing in WoW better than launch night. The first 6 hours are a biblical disaster, and I laugh my head off. I will be I will be taking a couple days off work for launch, so we'll see how it goes. I'm ready to just kind of fully experience it as best I can. Yeah, Felix, I agree with that. We're still talking about Demon Hunters over in the chat room. And Felix has said another leather class, need another male class. I don't know what other class we need, but I can tell you what, I don't want anybody else taking my leather. So yeah, definitely. Maybe we can get some sort of like a petition me thing going. Make him change him over to male. Steal all the who wears male? DKs? Steal all the DK armor. Stay away from my monk stuff. So let's dive into shout outs, guys. Rubber Chicken Coalition, great job this week. Bacon and Kegs, I will be back this weekend. Y'all cannot wait for that early morning action. Also, of course, to my new co-hosts, Sal and Belschnickel over on The Converted. I cannot wait to dive into it with these guys. We're going to have a whole lot of fun. And I spent, I think, like 3.5 hours on Skype last night with Sal, just talking about the show and talking about WoW and talking about our lives. And it was an absolutely great time. I'm really looking forward to getting to know those two a little bit more. They're both legends in their own right in the CTR world. And again, shout out to Navox. Navox, if you happen to be listening, man, I appreciate you. I have found in you a friend, a mentor, and just a great guy. I wish you the best in everything that you're moving on to do, and I hope that you will not be a stranger, sir. I hope to see you around some. And, you know, big hugs, big pat on the back, little slap on the behind. You know, go get him, Tiger. One of those. To Mr. Navox. And Alessander from the chat room would like to shout out to Matt Mercer for scratching my D&D itch every week on Critical Role. I'm going to guess that is a D&D podcast. I'm going to have to check that out. I've always wanted to get into D&D. And I've never actually played D&D. I was kind of a closet nerd growing up. So it was, yeah, D&D was never my thing. And then by the time D&D could be my thing, it was like gaming was the video gaming was my thing. I have very few pen and paper or tabletop friends. Most of my friends are here digitally. So, guys, that is going to do it for episode 24. This would be the spot where I would read iTunes reviews. Now, guys, go to iTunes, write me a short little review. Give me 5 stars. Tell the world how awesome I is. This helps other people find my show. It helps my show get out there. I make no money off of this. I do this for the love of sitting in front of a microphone and interacting with you guys. The only payment that I ever get out of it is the wonderful slices of gratitude that you give me on Twitter, in our chat room, in-game, and on iTunes. So if you listen on iTunes, go over to iTunes, give us a 5-star review. If you want to give us less than 5 stars, this is Knitting with Nana. You can give us 2 stars and tell her that it is the worst, that she has the worst cumin-infused brownie recipe ever. But if you like us, this is the Game Case Show. Rate us 5 stars on iTunes. And you can also thumbs up us on the YouTube or on the Stitcher. That's going to do it for episode 24. So, if you'd like to join our live audience and hang out in the chat room, just like Alessander, Kaz, McRally, Felix, Hut Pocket, and Frosty Fox did tonight, woo! Make sure and join us on twitch.tv/thegamecase at 10 p.m. Eastern each and every Thursday night. Thank you for listening to episode 24. You can find me on Twitter, not as a cough, if you can spell that, good luck, But you can find me on Twitter at Mullet863. You can find the show at The Game Case Show. You can download us on iTunes and Stitcher, catch recordings of the live show, or our tips, tricks, and kill videos over on youtube.com/thegamecase, or you can find all of the things on the official site of The Game Case Show, thegamecase.com. That's going to do it for tonight. Thank you to each and every one of you for listening. Don't forget those iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube reviews. I'll see you guys in Azeroth.